is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude. And I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Let's get into this. I'm excited to bring on Dark Side Phil. Phil, how are you? Do you feel that this has followed you around? Do you feel that people? Do you think that the King of Hate moniker is still relevant?
Today it is not. It was because when I started, the meaning behind it is when people hate on you, you don't use that to become a victim. You don't use that to crawl into a ball and hide in your corner and, oh, I'm defeated. People don't like me anymore, so I quit. Instead, you use that as a way to motivate yourself to do better. For example, when people say, you're never going to beat this game because it's so tough. Ah, you say I can't do it. You're hating on me. Say I'm a bad gamer. I'm going to beat that game just because you said I couldn't, right? You say I'm a bad content creator. I'm this. I'm going to fail. No, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to use that hate around me, and I'm going to be the king of it. I'm going to motivate myself with all that hate to be a successful person. This is a mantra I've used in my entire life to continue on and be successful. And that's why I have so many haters on the internet. I use that to fuel myself every day to come back and say, no, I'm going to put out a great, meaningful stream for people, regardless of what these idiots say on the internet about me. But it follows me. You're absolutely right, because people say the King of Hate is not that Phil owns the hate against him and motivates himself. They say, he's a hateful person. Take a look at that thing he said 10, 15 years ago, that racial joke he made, that ridiculous sexual comment he made. You know, that's what the King of Hate is. And then they'll say, look, he used to have a website, thekingofhate.com. And then they'll reference that stuff and say that I'm a bigot, or I'm a racist, or I'm a sexist. You know, they say it to this day. They're probably saying it right now in chat. You know, okay. It's not true. Well,
like, literally, you're a liar?
It's been rough. It's been rough. I'll tell you this. 2 years ago, well, excuse me, about a year and a half ago, I had a revelation. I was like, I have to move on from my past in any way that I can. I have to try to get rid of this moniker. This is something that people were actively using to weaponize against me. They were going to businesses that I was associated with and telling them, you have a bigot on your website. Do you know that? Look at all these things that he did. And they would link to things, little one-off jokes from 15 years ago. Right. As if it's something I did today. And they would say, he's the King of Hate. So I said, I have to stop this. I have to get rid of the website, rebrand myself. And now that's why I do not live by that mantra anymore. I don't even mention it. You know,
so, but what have you done? What have you done, Phil, to change the perception of that?
Yeah, and if you were to watch my content, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, hell, 2 years ago, and you were to watch my content today, you would see a difference. Like, for example, look how everything looks behind me right now, right? Just in the last year, I started doing React content. I was the biggest critic of React content. I crapped on it constantly, saying it was terrible content. It's the lowest form of content on the internet. I hated it. And then I started listening to my viewers. They're like, Phil, why are you so ignorant about this stuff? You know, you got to start to open up and be a more laid-back guy about all this crap. If you don't want to be the King of Hate, you got to listen. And I started listening. It sucks. I would love to do a full reboot and rename DSP Gaming. It wouldn't matter. Within a day. That's DSP Gaming. Don't be fooled. It's the same guy. You know, so I have tried to change and do better things and make more laid-back content. You watch my content today, way less of that rage kind of stuff. Way more chill content, interactive stuff, meaningful content with my viewers, I feel. But the stigma remains.
Well, let's talk about something real quick that can add to that stigma, right?
Oh my God, he's drinking acid, uric acid.
And I think this is important. You said the light bulb went off, you know, about a year ago. You got to change. You changed your background and stuff. But I want to bring up, like, there's still jokes that are made that that don't necessarily, like, they don't fit today. And I want to play one for you really quick and just kind of get your reaction to this. So this is yeah. So you know where this is going, and I want to watch this so we all understand what's going on here.
Make this quick. All right, boys, prepare the slave trade. We're selling it right off for profit. You know how much I love you, right?
Oh, makes me know.
Scared to just look up at the sky and run the battle chain.
Okay.
Put the kid in the vehicle. Stay with her. Right, she's too valuable to escape. She's worth lots of money.
That's okay, though.
Yeah. So what's going on there, man? Like, let's talk about that. Like, how does that when you see that? When you see that, how does that make you feel? What are you thinking? Do you regret that, saying that? Like, is that edgy humor?
There are times when maybe I'm like, man, I'd like to make a racial comment here or there. So, yeah, every once in a while. Yeah, be honest, of course.
Well, first of all, I have an honest question for you guys. You now seen it. I don't know if Adam has ever seen that clip before. Okay.
No,
Is that the first time? Okay. What do you think the joke was there? I'm just curious. What do you think I was trying to joke about?
That you're selling that girl to the slave trade.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like, and that's pretty fucked up.
Okay. Now, from what reference do you think? How can I say this? Okay, I'll approach it from the detractor perspective. Okay, from the detractor perspective.
No, I want to hear your perspective of what you meant.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do both.
It's pretty obvious what the detractors mean. Like for me, that would have put me on the detractor side because it sounds like you were making a joke about selling that little girl to the slave trade. How is it not that? Like, what did you mean?
Oh no, that's absolutely, that's the joke. But there's a difference between saying that's okay and it's funny, or the ridiculousness of the situation. See, you just saw that clip completely out of context, correct? You don't know what's going on in the game right there.
Okay, well, explain the context then.
That sheriff is a corrupt sheriff. He is actually orchestrating a situation to try to murder people inside a building to protect his secrets. He's like a dark guy who controls the whole town. And no one knows this. Everyone thinks the sheriff's a squeaky clean guy. So this is being revealed throughout the plot of the game. He's a scumbag, right? So the joke is, this guy's such a scumbag. He's saying to the dad, I'm going to save your daughter. Give me your daughter. Let's take him in and rescue her. But in reality, he's such a scumbag, he'd probably do something like that. He'd probably, traffic people. That's the joke. Now, is it a joke that's acceptable by today's standards? By 80% of people, probably not. I agree with you.
Do you think that's a joke? Like, do you think that's a joke acceptable by any standards? I don't.
Even a decade ago, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago.
And it's like, I just want to hear your thoughts on that, because I think there's edgy content, then there's inappropriate content, and we've all been guilty of edgy content before, So
I think it's dark humor. It's definitely skirting the risque. Okay, not to say that I've heard much worse, obviously, from other people, but that doesn't make it okay for me to do it. I know that. And there's
especially with what's following you around. Your reputation, right? Do you think that if the light truly went off in your head to say, like, I got to change, don't you think it would be like, well, maybe I should bite my tongue on this one? I may be thinking it, but how about I bite my tongue on this?
Yes, I 100% agree with you. And it's a working process. It's something that has to happen naturally over time. It's not something that can be a switch that's flipped because, again, I was someone who's done this for 15 years back in the day. That's what people came to watch. That's the content they wanted from me. That's what got me popular on YouTube. That kind of ridiculous, unacceptable, over-the-top, dark humor joke, okay? Today, it's not acceptable. I know that. But the thing is, those jokes still click in my head. I absolutely should have not done that joke. I will tell you that right now, 1,000,000%. But it's a working process. And here's where you have to have some kind of an air of fairness, or at least you have to see the big picture, all right? I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been doing it full-time for a job since 2011. I do it 6 days a week full-time. 6 days a week I'm here, full-time streaming. I have over 100,000 videos on the internet, okay? People will always find something that moment of weakness, that stupid thing that I said, stupid Phil, why the hell did I make that joke? But once it's out there, it's out there. And all you can do is apologize for it, say you're going to do better and try not to do it, and move on. Now, there's a reason why I'm on the show today, okay? This is March 16, 2023, and you had to show a clip, one random clip from last summer. You didn't show something I did in the last week, the last month. You showed something from the one moment of weakness. Whenever I do something stupid on the internet, it gets hyper-analyzed, looked in with a microscope, and blown away. This is what Dark Side Phil is. Have you watched the last 5 years of content I've put out? There's probably, okay, yes, I'm a human. I make errors, absolutely. And I'm stupid, and I do dumb stuff when I get over-emotional. This is not the norm on my streams. People see that clip out of context, like you guys just did. And if all you knew of Dark Side Phil was that joke, you would hate my guts. You'd be like, what a scumbag. He made a joke about child trafficking. What kind of a horrible person thinks child trafficking is funny? When you watch it in context, it's not as bad, but it's still bad. But when you watch
the context that you explained didn't make it any better, I'll be honest.
That's fine. I agree.
Because
that's fine.
I'm not sure which character you're even portraying. So were you acting as the sheriff in that situation?
Yes, that's why I did. That's why I did the accent. Yes.
I don't know. I think that in a situation like that, we live in a society now where, look, I understand that going into this interview, that literally every second of this is going to be analyzed, and Adam understands that, and you understand that, right? But literally everything you say, there's a camera on you at all times, especially when you're a live streamer, And I mean, for somebody who does this for a living, I just feel like you have to be able to bite your tongue at sometimes, and you need to know better. You said it yourself, the switch was flipped, and I understand that. I totally understand. I am very forgiving of mistakes, right? But when there's a pattern of these things that go back over the course of time, like it's no longer a mistake. It's a it's a continuation. So I don't know. I think, look, if you're saying that I'm also a big believer in taking people at their word, right? Up until their actions show different. So you're saying that over the course of since that joke, you've been pretty squeaky clean, and you haven't made inappropriate jokes like that are that edgy, I guess.
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't want to say that because I'm here 6 days a week full time. That's a lot of my life, and I guarantee you, if I say, man, yeah, that was it, Craig, that's all I remember. Immediately there'll be other examples tossed out right now, and they'll find it, right? I
understand.
And that's the problem is, when you are 100% on the internet at all times, with the amount of content I put out on the internet, they will always find another example or whatever. I am actively trying to change. What I will say is this. You would be challenged in the last maybe 2-3 years to really find a running pattern of me doing really bad jokes like that. Okay, maybe you'll find a few. I'm definitely a flawed individual. But you're not going to find it as like you wouldn't say, oh, here's 47 times within a year that Phil did that. I know for a fact he's a scumbag. Right? You'll find one time here, one time here, one time here, and then they blow it up on the internet.
You just gave so many different people a reason to do exactly that.
Oh, they will. I know that, but the thing is, they do it anyway. It doesn't matter what I say or do. This is what they do. So
now you said that the switch in your brain, was off, so that you made that joke. Like, do you have it in there that it's like you thinking like when you said that you're like maybe that was too much, or you were just free flowing, and that's just kind of you.
Let me put it this way. If I'm streaming and a joke pops into my head and I feel, oh man, that's probably too much, today I usually will not say it. Usually. It'll be maybe an extenuating circumstance or just for a second, a momentary lapse. I feel like what that was a momentary lapse because I've done it for so long. I get this weird observational humor in my head. And my brain is going a million miles a minute. It's just here's a joke, here's a joke, here's a joke, here's a joke, right?
But do you think that's observational humor though? Like I don't like I don't know. Like I'm not one to like. There are people who make there are comedians who make jokes and they're edgy and such like that. I guess. Do you fancy yourself as a comedian? Like because you're telling us that people come to your streams to watch you rage react to streams and things like that. I don't necessarily, and I don't know. I'm asking. And I think this is probably a better question for your fans. Are they coming to watch for those edgy jokes, or are they coming to watch you rage? Because I don't know, man. It doesn't fit. That's
I really. Agree with you. I agree. I actually agree with you today. I should not have made that joke. I know that. That today you're 100% correct. 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, it was a different climate on YouTube, and people were looking for that. That's who I was, and now I'm.
So this was last year, you said?
That was probably summer of last year. Yeah.
So, because it just feels like a big leap from going from a sheriff who is like trying to kill people to seeing a little black girl and thinking a slave trade.
Oh, no, now you said it. Now you said it.
See what?
You said black girl.
It was on
that's
screen.
Correct. That's correct. And herein lies the problem.
What?
I didn't think that.
You are a liar. A dirty, filthy
in my mind,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You're right. I agree with you. But in my mind, I didn't even see that. I didn't think that. That's,
okay.
The joke was, this is a scumbag sheriff. He's literally lying to everyone. If he's going to traffic someone for profit, I wouldn't be shocked. It wasn't, she's a black girl going to the slave trade. And that's stupid of me. Why the hell did I not make that connection in my head? Because I'm stupid.
Okay.
I admit that. I'm dumb.
I don't know if I believe that.
You don't have to. That's fine.
Okay.
You don't have to believe me. I can't make you believe me. I didn't think of it at one moment. Did I ever think, oh, she's a black girl, make a slavery joke? Absolutely not. It was about child trafficking, essentially, and that this guy would have probably done that because he's such a piece of garbage.
Okay.
Let's talk about your. I feel like we can. Okay. I feel like we can go on for for an hour about this clip, but we
12-hour show coming up, folks.
Right. Let's talk about this. So it seems like your biggest detractors are some of your earliest fans. They were fans who have turned into detractors. Why do you think that is?
He is a disingenuous, very, very bad person. Under the guise of trying to act like he's the normal guy, the nice guy, everything he does is for personal gain. Every single thing.
So your fan base turned on you because of a video that somebody else did highlighting, like That doesn't make sense, Phil.
Did you get bitter when that happened? Because when I hear,
oh my god, yes.
so do you think that bitterness changed the way that you were a content creator? Did you like add that into your shtick, as you say?
I don't think so. I think what happened was I reacted so bitterly to it. In hindsight, today I look at it and I'm like, that was an opportunity. I could have taken that and run with it. I could have done my own, or I could have highlighted those and laughed at them. But instead, again, it was a different climate. Today, everyone who makes content has all these methods of making a living, correct? We have Patreon, we have crowdfunding on our streams. That didn't exist back then. Back then, I was someone who had a full-time job, and the job was putting videos on the internet with monetization on them. That was my only revenue stream.
This was after 2011 when you lost your job.
Oh, correct. Yes, I lost my job in late 2010. I was doing YouTube for a living for about 2 years when the This Is How You Don't Play movement started picking up. And basically, the way I saw it, and this is, now I know this is stupid, I thought people are stealing my content, man. If someone takes my content without my permission, edits together, and only shows the worst of me, that's going to highlight myself and my business in a very negative light. That's going to make me look like crap. And instead of people laughing with me, now they're going to laugh at me. And therefore, that's theft. I outright said this in my videos. You stole my content without my permission. How dare you? This is bad. This, today, I realized how dumb that was, many years later. And let's be honest, the bubble was going to burst on ad revenue on YouTube one day anyway. I don't think that was ever going to last forever, but I was an idiot. I thought I actually went 1,000,000% bitter against it. And when that happened, people saw that change in attitude of me. Wow, Phil used to totally just not care about anything. Now all of a sudden he's always bitter about people joking about him and stuff. And that just goaded them on to do it more and more.
Well,
and now,
that's what you just said right there. So you're admitting that you added this bitterness, but initially, like 2 minutes ago, you said that's when they turned on you, before admitting that you actually were getting bitter. So don't you think that like that kind of correlates? Like maybe it was that moment when you didn't own up to the fact that people were making fun of you, being this king of hate guy, now going to, they're stealing my shit, I'm fucking pissed about it, what the fuck? And now everyone's like, well, who the fuck is this guy? You gotta own it. If you don't own it, then like why then you're just a joke.
They call me a living meme.
So it felt like you just kind of like let that run your ship that you were sailing.
Correct. I have nothing I can say to counter that in any defensive manner. It's a mistake I made. My reaction to This Is How You Don't Play directly fueled the fire for more people to keep doing it and to escalate further, because it started as just a movement of Phil's a bad gamer. He doesn't deserve the success he has on YouTube because he has no production quality. He's a rager. You're not going to watch a Dark Side Phil playthrough and get any kind of knowledge of really how to play a game at a good level, because he's not good at games. You watch him rage and make bad jokes and stuff. But it became, instead of watching his raw content to reward him with ad revenue, watch the This Is How You Don't Play video so he doesn't get paid for it and just make fun of him instead. And my reactions 1,000,000% fueled that. I will admit that. Now, over the years, it got worse and worse. And that's, I'm sure we're going to get into how it wasn't just about Phil's a bad gamer anymore. It became everything else under the sun, and we can talk about how that evolved over time. But it's my fault. It is my fault that people have originally turned against me on the internet. 100% it is.
Oh my god, he's drinking piss.
Okay.
So you feel that your reaction to the This Is How You Don't Play is what really parlayed your fans into becoming detractors? Yes.
And it's not all of them, but absolutely back then, I saw people who had been longtime supporters and fans disappear, only to years later crawl back into, as someone who was crapping on me. I'm like, whoa, what happened? The way I saw it was, and I'm such an idiot. I admit this today. After 15 years of doing this, you realize how you change as a person and how you can see from a different perspective. My mentality was, I'm the popular YouTuber. I'm the guy putting out all these videos and everyone's watching, I'm making money. My shit doesn't stink, man. How can you say that I'm doing something badly? I'm the one who has a successful business, not you. So who are you to throw criticism at me? That was my attitude. What a dumb attitude to have. What an idiotic attitude. Everyone knows that you need to actively be listening to your viewer base and your fan base and working with them to create a product that's meaningful to them.
Adolf Pigler, you are very stupid.
I was an innovator at the beginning, and I was a dinosaur 5 years in, and that's totally my fault. And
what would you say you innovated at the beginning?
At the beginning, the improv commentary style and the ability to basically do a full-length playthrough with commentary over it. I was not the first person who did it. There's other people, everyone will argue. There's actually argument between it was either Slow Beef or someone else who originally was like the big first Let's Player. But I was the person who started doing it back then when I started on YouTube, 2008 is the year where I really started doing active playthroughs. The people who were doing gameplay on YouTube were mostly known for being like a guru in one genre. This is the Call of Duty player. This is the fighting game player. I was the jack of all trades. I could play any game, do commentary over it that was kind of improv commentary, and people thought it was funny because of my mannerisms, my jokes. Yes, back then, that kind of stuff was funny.
what has changed? What are you doing differently now in 2023 that you were doing that you weren't doing in 2013 when you had this realization? Because it sounds like you're doing the exact same thing, Phil. It sounds like I'm the guy who plays different games and occasionally come to my channel to get some sort of shock value joke, right? What differentiates you now from who you were a decade ago?
Okay, wow. Geez, first of all, full-time streamer I wasn't back then. I was just a YouTuber. Now I'm a full-time streamer, 6 days a week full-time, mostly gameplay. Now I do React content as well. We'll talk about that in a second. Those jokes I don't really make anymore at all. Now, when I turn on a stream, it's about having a relaxed social conversation with my live audience.
You know, I have people who come by and who are regulars now, who I recognize in the chat, and I can talk with them, and as if they're a friend. What? Tip me $1 saying I'm a big fan of your content. I feel like you're my only friend. Well, just so you know, to clarify, I'm not your personal friend. I don't know who you are. I am not trying to put myself out as a victim. All right. The reason that a lot of the things that happened to me over the years is because of me. I know that.
I'm a flawed human. I'm sorry for some of the horrible things I've said and done over the years. I publicly apologize. That's why a lot of people hate me. But every time that it looks like things are getting better, these people will do something horrible to me or my family that ruins financially things for me. This has happened several times over the last few years. It was 2 years ago, all right? There was a light at the end of the tunnel. I was still on Twitch. This wasn't when I was full-time YouTube streamer. I was a Twitch streamer. I've been streaming on Twitch for 4.5 years. I built up my viewership and my subs on Twitch were at like 900 subs a month. Things were going good. I said publicly to my audience, guys, this is great. The bankruptcy went through last year. That's not great, but that took a lot of financial burden off of me. If things keep going how they're going, I see a light. I'll be able to improve my business. I'll be able to maybe take time off, spend time with my wife, reduce the amount I stream. This will be outstanding. What happened? My trolls took the King of Hate mantra, which we just discussed earlier, and they got me kicked out of the Twitch partner program because of it.
What did they do? What do you feel that they did to you to get you removed off Twitch specifically?
They organized a campaign. They did it, and the thing is, these people are so... everything they do, they try to do publicly so that way they can get a laugh out of it or at least get credit for it. So there was an organized movement against me where what they were going to do was say that 2021 Phil, because that's the year this happened, is the same as 2009, 2010 Phil. They took out of context clips. They took those bad jokes from back then, which I've already publicly apologized for. And I don't do that kind of stuff regularly anymore, okay? I've grown from that.
Well, I just saw a bad clip from a year ago, so that's pretty recent.
Correct. That's correct. And again, I'm totally fallible. I make mistakes from time to time, okay? But for the most part, that's not me anymore. You can.
I know, but what you just said was just disproven because you just made it that same kind of racy joke. I'm not trying to like make it a big deal, but I'm just pointing out that what they were saying is 2021 Phil is the same as before. When you just told me in 2022 you made a joke, so this was after they'd said this, and you're making the same kind of like inappropriate jokes that you were back then.
Correct.
So it's kind of, so they're right? Are they right or are they wrong? I mean,
they're right in saying that I still make mistakes and I'm a flawed human. They're wrong in saying this is who Phil is all the time. This is his content, because that's what got this happening. And by the way, it wasn't just the Twitch partner program. They basically did this exact same thing to all these different business relationships that I had.
I cannot be bought.
If you're struggling, if you're facing this, like, wouldn't it be better for your well-being and like your relationship with your wife and your family to just stop doing this for a little while, get a normal job and just, kind of take a breather?
Only sucker works a 9-to-5 job.
A lot of people have said that to me. My mother said that to me when I got married. If I get a 9-to-5 job, I would never make as much money, as I do on YouTube or Twitch or whatever.
So that's really what it comes down to is streaming is more profitable than getting a 9-to-5.
That's 50% of it, I would say. About a 50% weight. Because the other half is since I became a full-time streamer in 2017, and I changed my formula. It's not just about pumping out a ton of videos a day. Instead, it's about having meaningful content with an audience that I connect with. This now, I would say, for 2017 till today, has been the absolute best time of my life.
I love begging.
I love my job now.
What does meaningful mean? What does that, like, walk me through? What does that mean? Do you feel like you're, like, is this, you say you have your audience is your friends, right? You feel like you have now, I've seen clips of you say that your audience is not your friends, right? So, like, are they your friends or are they not your friends? Are they, because you're kind of speaking of, just based off clips I've seen.
Sure.
You're kind of speaking of both sides of your mouth here.
My audience are not close personal friends. I'm not going to come on stream and tell you about super important behind the scenes stuff in my life. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, I'm here 6 days a week. This is my social interaction outside of my wife And the one day a week that I leave this house to do stuff when I'm not streaming, this right here, this laptop, this chat is my social interaction with the world. So that is me being friendly with people. That's, you know, as if you were, you know, you go to your place of work. Hi, how you doing? Your coworkers, right? You walk in, you hang out with them or whatever. It's kind of what it kind of feels like, a camaraderie.
Hey, by the way, send me tips.
Since I've become a full-time streamer and I've taken ownership of who I am and the content I put out rather than just making dumb jokes, I feel like now this is the best time of my life because I'm helping people. I don't know if that sounds crazy or not, but that's what they tell me. And I love it. It helps me. You know what I mean? It's like kind of reciprocating back and forth.
Everyone typing X in the stream chat, you can go fuck yourself.
What is it? Which one is it? Would you rather have sponsors? What's wrong with having sponsors compared to, like, if a sponsor is going to come and pay you $500 to talk about, you know, whatever their product is, wouldn't that be better than having to rely on crowdfunding or your audience on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, you know, it's a double-edged sword. It really is, because I could say right now, if I had a bunch of sponsors on my stream, absolutely would things financially be better? Would the pressure be taken off of me to earn on a stream? Yes, absolutely it would. But at the same time, and again, this is something that people will bring up that feels stubborn, you know, I agree. I have always, in the 15 years that I make content, always been critical of people who shill. And there's a difference between, oh, I have a sponsor today and I shill. There is. I know that. You know, you can watch people out there who they put out a 30-minute video and 2 minutes of the video is a plug. I think that's acceptable, right? But then there's people who, like, they try every opportunity to monetize everything they possibly could. Every aspect of what they do is a monetization. I've seen in my React content last year, I watched someone who apparently is supposed to be doing a heartfelt message about something going on. They're crying on stream, and on top of the stream, there's ads running. Like, you can't turn that off for 5 seconds to do your heartfelt message to your audience, right?
I had no actual self-awareness.
For me,
but hold on, Phil, because there are times where you say, look, hey, I really need, you know, I'm in a really tough spot now. I got this coming up. And on the same screen, you have a tip tracker. You know, it's the same type of thing. Like you're tracking your revenue on the stream, and I don't have any problem with that. That's done by millions of streamers. But it's the idea of saying, like, hey, I'm in a really tough spot right now. I really need you guys to help me out. And in your words, you know, I'm going to be eating, you know, lunch meat sandwiches, right? Like what's wrong with lunch meat sandwiches? Sometimes
there's nothing wrong with lunch meat sandwiches. I eat them a lot. They're delicious. No, I see what you're saying.
For the tip tracker, that's really there for rewarding my audience.
And the rest of the board goes unselected.
And I know that sounds weird. I would prefer not to track tips, because if I didn't have to track tips, I wouldn't have to count all stream. I could just kind of focus on what I'm doing with my audience. But you know, there's incentives, there's rewards that they like. They like silly things I do on stream. They've come up with ideas, not me. They've come up with the idea that if I raise a certain amount on a stream, I put on a stupid hat or a vest. They donate hats and vests for me to wear on a stream to look like an idiot, and I'm okay looking like an idiot for them. I don't care. What do I? You know, I'm self-deprecating. Who gives a crap? You know, they're supporting me. It's a way to give back. No, I hear what you're saying. The difference is, all right, there's a tracker on the screen. Okay, big deal. I'm not going to sit there and talk about it constantly. If you watch a 4-hour stream I put out, yes, every once in a while, hey guys, it'd be great we get some more support on the stream or whatever today. And then we move on, right? And I'll hit it upon it a few times during the stream. Some people say I hit upon it way too much. And I understand that. Everyone has different perspective on that. I agree that sometimes I do it too much. I'm trying to get better at that. But there's a difference between that and you could tell that a stream is being done because someone is enjoying themselves and having a passion, or someone turned on a stream today to make money. You know what I mean? There's people out there that I feel like the only reason that they're in it is there's no passion. You know, they don't love what they're doing. It's because they saw dollar signs and they want to monetize as much as
sounds
they
like
can.
projecting right now.
Yeah, but Phil, you just said a few minutes ago, and I mean this with all sincerity, man. You said just a few minutes ago the reason why you still do this is because you can make more money than a 9-to-5 job, right? And
Half
it's
of it, right? Mm-hmm.
right. So like that's a pretty big half, you know. And I don't know, man. It doesn't seem. It seems like when you're asking your audience for money consistently. Look, Adam and I have both worked with people who like the worst thing you can do is look at your audience as a dollar, right? And
Yes.
and this is something that I don't have a whole lot of. You know, I've left companies over this, right? And this is something that I don't agree with. But I would say that when money comes in and you reach a goal, let's say you reach a goal and you put on your vest or whatever, how are you taking that money and are you Are you reinvesting it into your content? Are you reinvesting it into cameras? Are you doing special streams outside of just your day-to-day gameplay stuff? What value are you adding by people? I mean, I get you have to pay bills. I get it, right? But what value are you adding to your audience's experience to further that meaningful relationship that you're offering?
Yeah, we've had big goals. Like, for example, if we hit a monthly members goal on YouTube, if we hit a sub goal on Twitch, now instead of just doing our normal routine gameplay, I do an interactive event with the viewers where we'll talk for a series of weeks. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see a big React event? Do you want to see a special party atmosphere? We just did one a couple of weeks ago. It was a Super Bowl event. What
is a React event? What does that mean? Is it just you watching stuff, or?
Well, React would be, for example, let's say there's a documentary, a long-form documentary out there that people really want to see me react to. It's like 2 hours, right? But for me to react to it, it's going to take like 3-4 hours. Well, that's going to take a major chunk out of my normal schedule to do. You know, people also don't want me to get backlogged on the games that I'm playing. But you hit that event, now we're going to do special things. You know, this big React event, it's separate from all my other content. A lot of times it's hyped up. We set special things around it that I normally wouldn't do. Yes, some of that money gets reinvested. I have a series. I know this sounds stupid, but my fans love this. It's called Feasting with the King. Basically, I order a meal, and I eat a meal with my audience. They think it's funny, because they think it's funny to see me eat. I look stupid. They say I look like I'm in pain when I eat. They like making fun of me, right?
When you say the king...
You're still using the king moniker, I see.
Right, the king of hate.
Not the king of hate, that's the thing.
It doesn't matter. You say the king, and, you know, that's what it was, so people are going to make that connection.
You're 100% correct, and the thing is, I do need to try to fully phase it out. Feasting with the King and Ask the King are two leftover shows, or events, that I do that have the king moniker in them, that I probably should try to phase out or rename. But when you have things that have been running for so long, people actually have pushback. Like, don't change it. We love it. It's been like that for so long. Those are my true fans saying that, not my haters. You know. But you're right. I agree there. But anyway, no. Yes, I try my best to reinvest. You know, there was
how.
Well, like I just said, doing something above and beyond. I'm gonna.
Well, that doesn't cost any money though. You know, doing another stream, reacting. That's just making you more money.
Bravo! Bravo!
But correct, but then, you know, the ordering of a giant meal that normally I wouldn't order. You know, I'm talking ordering 2 entrees and stuff, getting DoorDash. You're talking $50-$60 out of my pocket that I normally would not spend. You know, it's not budgeted, but because, you know, we did a special event. And I know, I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is, if you have these goals every day, where's the money going? Would you really like to know? Do you really want?
It's not honestly. It's not that we are asking. It's that I feel like the people out there that have been supporting you that now have turned against you because they feel you lied to them or you saw them as dollar signs, and that's all that they were to you. It's like, I feel like they want to know most.
Well, then let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a minute, right?
Set up.
There was a, you know, you went through bankruptcy, right? And that's pretty public. You went through bankruptcy, and there was this, the $5,000, you know, business expense thing has been talked about by your detractors quite a bit. They say, what could you possibly be spending $5,000 on? Look, a month. You are a streamer who streams, you know, by your own schedule. You're active 12 hours a day doing this, right? And there's,
and by your own admission, you said like you didn't fix the set at all. It's been just a shoddy set for most of your over a decade of doing this.
Right. So there's this whole, like, what do your business expenses look like? I mean, I've done this for a long time. The business expenses are your initial cost of setting up your camera, your lights, and that's about it. And then after that, it's your cost
Internet
is your time. Yeah, is your time, right? And so walk me through, what does that look like? What is it specifically? You know, there's this $5,000 business expense every month. So what is this?
Where's the money go? Where's the money go?
Okay, so first of all, we're talking about things that came out publicly during a bankruptcy proceeding, correct? And I believe that the $5,000 a month number came off of, I believe it's from a tax return. Is that correct? That it was filed, or you know, the data? I'm trying to remember exactly where it came from. You guys probably know more than me because you've probably been inundated with this for 2 weeks. While I'm so far removed from this.
I want to hear it from you.
I think, again, I'm just speculating. I think what happened was when I filed for bankruptcy, a lot of information goes public. And so they look at a public filing. I guess there's certain information that's made public. I don't think it's all your tax returns. I think it's like 1 year's worth or something. And I guess there was a number that was thrown out there that it looks like Phil spends $5,000 a month on business expenses. Now, number one, I don't do my own taxes. I have a tax guy to do. I pay him to do it, okay? Here's what I can tell you, all right? I can tell you right now because I'm working on it right now for this year. What are considered expenses that a tax attorney wants to know you're spending every month? geez, your mortgage, because if you work from home, I guess that's part of it. I don't know. Again, I'm not a tax guy, but your cost of your mortgage, all of your utility bills that apply to you operating the business. Correct?
Hold on, Phil, you've been doing this for 17 years and you don't know what your business expenses are? You don't know what you get tax write-offs on and stuff? I mean, like...
Specifically, no, I don't. I give it all, I pay him a lot of money to a tax guy. I have a giant, spreadsheet of data that I provide. They work it out, because every year it's different. I get to feel the tax laws change and stuff, and they figure it out. I give them all the data. In fact, just got an email from a tax guy the other day. He's like, we still need this data for you for this year's tax filings. We need how much do you pay for utilities? What's your cost of internet this year? What's this? They need all that information. And I got to get them to, and then they do it. So here's the thing, all right? Everyone, we're really going to get to the meat of it, is this stupid WWE Champions bullshit, which I cannot wait to talk about it.
Well, and we'll get to that, but I want to stay on this for a minute. Like, just once again, walk me through this, because, like, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I'm trying to think through
while you're piecing it together, building that up. I just want to remind you, Phil, like you said at the beginning of this stream, you want this to be where people can go to finally, like, oh, you just go watch that video, right?
Yes.
I don't have to say it anymore. So
Correct.
like this, you said, like, what do we want to know? This isn't for us. This is for the people out there that are like, what about the $5,000 a month? You know, so what about WWE Champ, which we'll get into? Like, what about these things? So it's like this is your chance to now say, all right, it was the freaking business expenses, whatever. I mean, it was the mortgage, it was this. I don't know if that's actually considered a tax write-off. I don't want you to get in trouble, but I don't know. It just feels.
No, and see, that's the thing. Again, when I went to that bankruptcy, oh my God, that was the craziest rigmarole, because my tax attorney, excuse me, not my tax attorney, I misspoke. My bankruptcy attorney had no idea what they were getting into with me being a public persona. And there were things you can do, I guess, to protect from online harassment, which I tried to explain. They didn't really understand who I was or whatever. And so when all that went public, that was the most drama-filled bankruptcy hearing ever. The judge was inundated with thousands of messages from my haters about stuff. But anyway, let me answer the question first, and then we can get to anything you want to talk about there. I would assume that the expenses are including everything that I do. Okay, that's related to the business, and that could include mortgage, any insurance that I'm paying that relates to the business, health insurance and or medical costs, legal costs, and that what I'm talking about is my tax attorney, but also other attorney and things that I've been involved in over the years, which maybe we will get into that today, or maybe we won't. I really can't talk too much about certain things. We'll get to that, about identity theft and stuff. I know, it's the first time I ever mentioned that, you guys. So, among other things, all the normal things in a month. Like I said, utilities and all of that. It adds it up. Here it is. Here's my tax return. All of a sudden, I'm being accused that was a lie or something. All right, here's what I can say. Because I'm not going to sit here and go back to a 2010 tax return and say, here's what my accountant said or whatever.
Right.
This is from 2010. That's $5,000 a month.
Oh, excuse me. Did I say 2010? I meant 2020. That's totally my fault. I meant 2020. My bankruptcy was 2020. So I think the tax return that must be referenced is like 2019, something like that. Okay. Here's what I know. Because of the amount of trolling that happened to me, this judge that was involved in the bankruptcy hearing was attacked online with so much. I had to go into meeting after meeting with both my bankruptcy attorney and this judge. Hours of work. We went through line item by line item of all of my expenses. I had to explain to a judge who has no idea what live streaming is, the entire concept of being a live streamer, and showing every single expense and line item and rationalizing what it was to my business. This is this, right? And it took so much work. At the end of the day, after all that extra work and time and money that had to be put into my bankruptcy, it went through. The judge understood. I showed them everything. If anyone should see line item by line item what my business expenses are, it should probably be the judge who's going to make a ruling on if I should be granted bankruptcy or not, right? That's the government, a government representative, correct? They saw it all. They went through all of it, and at the end of the day, they said, this all makes sense, approved.
I'm an evil bastard.
Well, but in the vast majority of time, winners in bankruptcy experience like some sort of relief, right? Whatever the debt is that you were paying, it's gone, right? So why do you have to go back to the well, going back to your audience, and ask your audience to crowdfund your content when you claim and you still say that nothing has really changed financially for you?
Great question. Thank you for asking it, because this is one of the ones I get hit with every day. We just talked about 2021 and what happened with Twitch. Okay, so the bankruptcy goes through around mid to late 2020. I'm relieved of all this revolving debt that I had in my name, but there's still debt that remains. There's still my mortgage. There's still my car payment. There's still taxes. And taxes is a big thing because for years there I was not able to pay my federal taxes properly. And
Well,
it came back to bite me.
you couldn't pay them, or you didn't prepare to pay them properly. There's a difference. Because
Wait, I thought you hold on. I thought you said that you paid a guy to do your taxes.
I do, correct, to file the taxes.
Because I think the one thing that people need to understand is that you are acting as an independent contractor with YouTube and Twitch and whoever, right? So when you're paid, when somebody gives you $1 super chat, YouTube takes 30% of that, right? And so you get 70%. That 70% then needs to be taxed by Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam comes in and they take however much of that. So you know, by the end of it, you could be getting anywhere between 50 cents of that or 35 cents of that, depending on what your revenue is for the year, you know, and you're the tax brackets you're in. It sounds like, Phil, that you didn't necessarily plan accordingly for that, and you didn't save your money to ultimately pay. And if you have a tax person to do this, a CPA, which is for any online creator, that's like the number one expense is having a CPA to do your taxes. That's the number one thing, because going through and, you know, that's extremely important. But your tax, like, has your tax person ever came to you and said, hey, you should probably prepay your taxes. You should be paying quarterly instead of having one big lump sum at the end of the year? Because it seems really irresponsible for somebody who works online and has done so for 17 years to have a tax person who hasn't suggested that and haven't had you prepaid.
Do not, please. That my tax guy is great. And
okay.
He you know, I have an estimate of what I should be paying, not even quarterly, monthly. Like, basically, can I make this monthly payment? And some months I can easily make it no problem, and other months I can't. I have to pay less, depending on the income that I made that month.
But that income is based off of your tax for that month is based, and your quarter and your year is based off of the revenue that you're making that month. So if you make $10,000 that month, then you're going to be, you know, then you prepay whatever, $2,000 in taxes, whatever, however much it is, right? So the money is already in your account. So why would you have trouble spending? Why would you have trouble with that? I'm really having a hard time following this, because if you have the money, it's either being spent before it's time to pay taxes, or I don't know. I don't know. Please walk me through it.
Whew, okay. So I have two revenue streams. One revenue stream is very much daily income that I get from my viewers, meaning like tips, let's say. Okay, that's pretty much tips on a stream. The other revenue stream is the other income that I get from YouTube. That's ad revenue, super chats, memberships, and all of that. Okay. Daily I get tips, and that essentially is the money that I'm using day to day to pay some bills, go grocery shopping, you know, buy a new game for the stream coming up, all that kind of stuff. The YouTube money that comes in behind the scenes is what I use to do all my ongoing recurring payments, my mortgage, my car, you know, health insurance payment or whatever. Here's what's happened, okay? The bankruptcy happens. Great. End of 2020, things are looking up. I'm actually getting more popular on Twitch. I'm starting to make good money. I announced to my audience in early 2021, hey guys, guess what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You guys are supporting me so much. The bankruptcy went through. It's looking like if you keep this going this year, not only for the first year in many years, because now the bankruptcy's over with, now I can pay all my taxes properly for the first time in a long time. Because, you know, my problem is we have that much debt and everything. You can't, you know, I couldn't do it. It was my fault. I was in financial ruin. All right, 2021, things are looking up. And then what happens? They get me kicked out of the Twitch partner program. They shut down other revenue streams for me that I can't really talk about. Later on that year, identity theft, which we might not get to today. I don't know if we'll talk about that. That's a huge one. Identity
you clearly
theft,
want to talk about it.
And we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, it cost me so much money to fix the identity theft thing.
Sure.
So now I went from I'm good to, oh, I immediately have lost a revenue stream from Twitch. I have to go to YouTube. I'm making way less money on YouTube now than I was on Twitch. All that money that was going to make everything even, I'm good to go now, is gone again. I'm way reduced income again. So you're right. The taxes adjust. Now, nothing else adjusted. My mortgage still exists. My car still exists. All those regular expenses still exist. And now I'm making way less. So this is a running pattern, and I hate this. Every time in life I feel like I'm getting ahead, something happens and screws me over. I'm serious. It's like a comedy of errors.
But once again, Phil, then why not remove all that and just do something different? I'm not telling you what to do, but like if you keep running into a wall, eventually you need to take a different direction, right? And like I love that you love what you're doing right now, but if you're still struggling with this so immensely, at a certain point, don't you need to like self-reflect and say like, look, man, I'm running into this wall fucking 5 times. I should probably not be doing this or change my approach to it.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. And like I said, I had that conversation with my mom in 2019 about changing it and, you know, not be beholden to people, do something different with my life. I mean, yeah, let's be honest. A major factor is money. Have to be honest here, right? That's what this is about. I'm going to be transparent.
Major factor. It sounds like it is the factor. I mean, it sounds like you're just spending the money as it coming in instead of saving and preparing for the next month where it might not be as profitable, so that you could be like, I'm saving. Maybe I'm not gonna buy that new game. Maybe even though it's probably a write-off because you're doing it for a business, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, it seems like you just gotta start saving money. Maybe be a little smarter for the future. I mean, I'm not trying to like lecture you.
No,
on
you're
money,
right.
But
You are
it seems
right.
like you need it. So
Yeah, I need what I need. And I've said this before. I'll just say this.
Sure, Phil.
I need like a year, and here's what I mean by that. I need 1 year to make content and not have my trolls fuck with my income.
it's never gonna happen.
I agree
Never.
with you. I now agree with you. I know that now. But that's what's happened is every time something happens that screws my income again. Well, wait, here we go. I worked my ass off. I changed who I am. I'm a different kind of content creator. All the things that they had issue with me. This is why they do it to me, right there. We don't like Phil for this. Okay, I'll change all of that. Nope, still do it anyway. Ruin his income.
So why
No.
change? Why change? What's the point? It's not doing anything. Why wouldn't you just stay the person that you were and that you are or whatever, instead of like trying to like adhere to people on the internet? Because the people on the internet are gonna hate. The haters are gonna hate. Like, who fucking cares? So what's the point? You're doing it for nothing.
I agree. I understand what you're saying. At the same time, I feel like that a lot of the changes have been very productive. I like I said, now I love what I do for a living. I didn't before. I do now. I actually genuinely want to be here every day with my audience. It's fun. I wake up in the morning energized, ready to go. I used to wake up in the morning like, oh, I gotta go play games and film again. That was a horrible mentality. Who wants, I treated it like any other job. This now I love it for the last 4 or 5 years. But, I hear you. But yeah, if I were to quit YouTube, let's say right now, cold turkey, I quit YouTube. I can't find a job out there that's going to pay what I'm doing now. In addition to that, there's always the factor that I've been out of the job market for a decade. Who's going to hire a 40-year-old guy that hasn't done anything besides, operate an online streaming business for 10 years?
Nobody with that attitude, though. So it seems like you're already defeated, not even worth trying. So you're putting yourself in this hamster wheel that Craig was mentioning earlier. It's just like there's no option. This is it. So I have to grind. I have to do this. And like that sounds miserable to me. Even though you say you're having fun, it seems like you're just trying to convince yourself that instead of
Actually,
it might be true. It might be true, but these two things could be true also. I'm just pointing that out what I'm seeing.
And I just like to kind of continue on with that, right? The idea of like, do you have a business plan? Do you have what it looks like what your business looks like in a month from now? Do you have a business plan for a year from now? You have a tax guy who runs your numbers, but are you saving money? Because it doesn't sound like you are, because just based off what you're saying, and it very much sounds like you're going to be doing this when you're 60, right? And if you want to be doing it when you're 60, that's fine. But this doesn't seem very forward thinking. When you seem like you're living day to day as opposed to thinking about long term. And dude, you're 40 years old, and at a certain point, you got to look at things and say, like, well, do I want to be doing it? Like, will I ever have enough money to retire? Will I ever have enough money to not do this? So walk me through that. Walk us through that. The idea of like, and it's okay to say you don't have a business plan. It's okay. It's like, we're putting it all on the table here, Phil. And if you don't, that's fine. Just kind of walk me through it, man.
Currently, do I have a business plan? No. Have I had business plans in the past? Yes. And every single one of them has been destroyed by my income being ruined over and over. To have a plan, a long-term plan, you have to know at least what the stability is going to be today and depend on a little bit of that stability. And it sucks. Like Adam said, YouTube, Twitch, any kind of online content creation is a constantly fluctuating thing. Tomorrow, everything could be turned off for all of us. We can't even stream, right? It could be a new law that says we can't do it anymore, in which case then I guess I am boned and I got to go out there and get an offline job, right? But how can I lay out a business plan when every month is different? When it looks like there's consistency to my life. Oh, here's what I'm making every month. That's exactly what was happening in 2021. There was a series of months, like the first 3 months and 4 months of the year. Things were going great. I had a business plan. Here's what I want to do. Let's do this for a certain amount of years. Let's expand. Let's improve the setup. Let's try new things. Let's do this. And then if it keeps going, you get to the next stage of the business plan, right? And what happens? I lose my partnership, identity theft, income's destroyed. Now what do I do? Business plan's gone. So how can I set a plan when these people won't allow me to even have any level of stability in my life for even a few months?
You know what you do?
Stuff that they're doing.
You make another business plan. You move forward. That's what you do.
Like I don't.
What choice do you have?
Right.
The only choice is to make a new one and continue moving forward.
I agree.
Like,
I will not be beaten by these people.
What you just said sounded like you were.
Oh
like,
no,
you have been over and over again.
One of the
I'm
major
letting
things...
you know. I'm letting you know what what you had just finished with. I had a business. He asked what your business plan is. He was like, I had a business plan, but they kept shitting all over it. Like, that was your response instead of, this is my business plan. right? You don't have a future vision. I think that's what
Oh,
Craig
I
was
do?
going
Okay,
for.
okay. I spoke. I do have a future vision. The problem is, if I fully explain it, they're going to try to ruin it. You understand?
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
I should have said that. I'm sorry about that. Like, do I have an idea of what I'd like to do? Yes. I know exactly. Actually, I have steps in place to know exactly what I can do to try to fix my situation. I don't want to,
That
listen,
sounds good.
I don't want to be here on stream every day saying to people, toss me a few bucks. Oh my God, that's the worst feeling every time I effing do it. I don't want to say, hey, tip me, do this, do that. That's obnoxious. I just want to play games and chill with my audience. And this is the funny part that my detractors will never mention. Before my income kept getting screwed over all these different times by them and by my choices. It's not just them, it's also my bad choices that did this. I never had any kind of crowdfunding. So, anything that you can give back is much appreciated. I also do have the PayPal donation on the left-hand side of my Dark Side Phil channel. It explains how to go to PayPal and what, email address to send a donation to, darksidephil@hotmail.com.
I've gotten many donations, and as I said before, if you send me a donation of, $10, $15, $20 or more, I'll mention your name in a video because I do appreciate that. So
it was always just Phil's making a living on YouTube via ad revenue. I had no sponsors. I didn't take any money, extra money from anywhere. I wasn't asking my fans for crowdfunding. Everyone else was. I wasn't doing it. It wasn't until the revenue started to get hurt by that I decided to do crowdfunding because everyone told me to do it. Right? Now, my income's ruined over and over by these people, and what's their number one critique of me? You beg too much. I wouldn't beg if you didn't keep messing with my income.
there's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you. No decency, no respect, no common sense, no fucking maturity. Is the guy who just doesn't get reality.